Okay, so it's really a touchy way to discuss this, but when Mike Leach passed away, nobody stopped recruiting. Nobody stopped entering the transfer portal.
You mean at the other schools, not at State?
At the other schools, right? Yeah. And nobody, inside the Mississippi State football building, though they were saddened, there were still players who were making decisions about their futures, and there were still coaches that were still going to reach out and tamper with the Mississippi State players, especially offensive players with the passing of such an offensive guru. So here comes Zach Arnett, who's the interim coach, and Mississippi State's got to make a tough decision. When do we decide on a permanent head coach? What is best for the future of the program? What would Mike have wanted? I mean, there were some tough discussions going on with an interim athletic director at Mississippi State, and they made a decision yesterday that really, I think, caught a lot of people, the timing of it off, just a little bit of a pause. And then when you sit back and think about it, Brown, I think it's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, because I firmly believe, and we've talked about this on the show, as Scott shows you, Mississippi State has officially announced it now that Zach Arnett is their next head coach. I believe this is what was going to happen at the end of this year anyway. I think this is one reason you were able to do this so quickly, is I believe this process had already been set into motion. I think Mike Leach, he had some health issues, was going to retire at the end of the year, and Zach Arnett was going to be able to take over. So you already had this ball moving. You had this snowball rolling down the hill, so you just go ahead and make it official now. But you're right. I mean, it's they haven't even had a funeral for Coach Leach yet, and you're already naming the successor. I mean, it is a tough look, but business never stops. You're right. Kirby Smart didn't stop recruiting. Nick Saban didn't say, "Hey guys, let's all take a beat to honor Mike." Everybody paid their respects and went back to work.
Well, I think this is the easiest way to do it. We talked about if you went out and got somebody else, and I think there's a lot of people internally that wanted Zach to have this opportunity to begin with. But because of the timing, and we're 6 days out from National Signing Day, this shows stability, and this was the right move.
Yeah, and Ruffum, who's a dog fan over there, says he'll name Steve Spurrier Jr. as the OC. They'll keep the air raid and keep most of that staff, if not all that staff, together going into the next season, and specifically through signing day.
And I think that's what you've built a roster for an air raid. So it's going to be tough to go away from that. Like Matt Wyatt, I think it was on with us the other day, said if you brought in a new offensive system, they don't have any tight ends. You don't play tight ends in the air raid.
That's right. Easier now to transition than, say, when Jeff Collins took over at Georgia Tech from the triple option.
Yeah, because he didn't have the transfer portal.
That's right. At least you can go portal up and get some tight ends.
Yeah, you could if you wanted to. But, no, this is a hire that I think was going to happen anyway. I am very happy for Zach Arnett. He's going to make $3 million a year.
Let's get into that there. Okay. That was my next part of this layering of what Mississippi State has done here is he is a first-time head coach with zero experience. He's 36 years old, and with that, Mississippi State now can shop at the great value. I mean, this is great value in a head coach in the SEC, $3 million a year.
I'm assuming he's the lowest paid.
Yeah,
I would think so too.
By, I think a fairly large margin too. 4 years, $12 million a year. I don't know what.
What does Clark Lee make?
That's what I was about to say. I don't know what Clark Lee makes. Private school, so you have to go on their tax returns.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I bet it's more than $3 a year.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he was making anything less than $5 million.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Arnett's agent representation got involved and Zach agreed. Hey, look, man, I mean, he probably was making $800,000 as a coordinator.
Yeah, I think he may have gotten to $1 million because everybody wanted him last year and he hung around. But here's the deal: we know this. If he goes out next year and he wins 7 games or 8 games, he'll get a raise.
Yep.
If he wins 8 or 9 games, he'll get a hell of a raise. If he wins 10 games, he'll get all the money that they have in the state of Mississippi.
Maybe a road named after him at that point.
And look, and Zach Arnett probably, a guy that played football at San Diego State and coached under Rocky Long, probably never envisioned being a head coach in the SEC and making millions of dollars in this profession.
Yeah, he was fast-tracked on the head coaching lane, I think. I think he was fast-tracked there, but you probably were not going to get an SEC job outside of some sort of wild extenuating circumstance like this one.
And
so he was probably going to look at coaching a MAC team or something like that first.
It's amazing. He took his initial job out of San Diego State and went to Dino Babers at Syracuse and stayed there for like a couple of weeks, and then Mike Leach called.
Right.
And he takes off, and you just wonder if he never gets that opportunity if he's still at Syracuse. Yeah. Is he even still at Syracuse?
Or did he get fired and he's back somewhere else? But this is going to blow your mind right here, okay? Because some people just look older than they are. Now he's 36. I think he looks 36.
Yeah,
Some people just look and act older than they are. Zach Arnett is the same exact age as Dan Mullen was when he was hired as the head coach at Mississippi State.
That is hard to believe.
Does that blow anybody's mind?
It does blow my mind. I thought Mullen was in his 40s when he got that job.
If I, again, reading comprehension was my lowest score on the ACT SAT, but if I read it correctly, Dan Mullen was 36 years old when he was hired at Mississippi State.
They're just a different look. You look at Zach Arnett, I mean, that's a cross between Vin Diesel and our man Joe Bear from Mortgage Rate.
Yeah.
Okay, I see some of that.
I see that, yeah.
Dan Mullen is now 50, which means he was born in 72, and he took the state job in 09.
Do the math for me. Is that
No,
right?
I was waiting for someone else to do that.
That's 13 years ago, so he was actually 37.
37.
37.
Yeah, so there you go.
You
Depending
do
on
the
when the
birthday,
birthday
was
fell.
probably 36
Yeah.
when he was
But
hired.
South
yeah.
Korea is making everybody a year younger next year. So if he was from South Korea,
That's
you'd be
true.
right.
I'm
I
all
think-
for that,
Yeah.
Rockstar.
I think Dan Mullen was from South Korea, as I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's pretty amazing that they were the same age when they were hired. So it's not that big of a stretch. So here's Zach Arnett untested taking over there. 4-year deal, $3 million a year as he takes over the permanent head coach at Mississippi State. If you're wondering about age in the SEC, he is the youngest. Eli Drinkwitz, who's been on the job a while, 39 years old. Clark Lee, 41 years old. So not that big of a difference. Not, same generation for those two
But
coaches there.
he's got the best of the three jobs.